Good morning, dear students. So in the last class, we are discussed about the controlling process. So only two steps we have discussed in the last class. So you already know the controlling process involving the 5 steps. Just the number 1 is setting performance standards. Then after that, measuring actual performance. These 2 points we already discussed in the last class. Okay. Today in this session, we are going to discuss about the remaining other processes, other steps of controlling process. Okay. Then the next one is the comparing actual performance with the standards. Okay. Controlling process. First step is setting performance standards. Another one is measuring actual performance. After the measuring the actual performance, the next one is comparing actual performance with standards. Comparing actual performance with standards. Okay, just we are going to comparing these actual performance presently what is happened, that is should be considered as the actual performance. These actual performance we are going to compare with the standards. You already know standard performance, it is based on the controlling process. On the basis of the standards only we are going to measuring all the performances. Okay, so that's why standard it is based on controlling. You already know without standard we are not possible to controlling if any activity. So that's why the next process just we are going to comparing this actual performance with the standards. This such comparison will reveal the deviations between the actual and the desired results. Okay, so the time of we are going to comparison, it is helpful to this comparison. You can easily identifying the deviations, how much is changes should be happened. This we can go to reveal it. Okay, so reveal this deviation with actual with the present or desired results what is happened into the organizations. Okay, so this comparison becomes easier when the standards we can set on the basis of the quantitative terms. You already know in the last class we are discussed at the time of you setting the standards. The standards are set on the basis of the quantitative terms and also qualitative terms. Okay, both we can go to set, but we can set these standards on the basis of the quantitative terms. We can easily comparing with actual performance with the standards. Okay, if for example, you take one example for if any worker can work or can perform in a weekly, okay, in particular week, how much of units he can produce, we can easily identify it on the basis of the quantitative terms. Okay, so for example, if A is a one person, so this person can produce 100 units per week. Okay, so 1 week 100 units, one person. Just on the basis of the quantitative term we can easily identify. Okay, actually this comparison of actual performance with the standard, just we can go to finding the exact of deviations, how much of deviations are arising. Okay, what is standard, what is actual performance. So we are going to compare it. We can easily identify how much of deviations, how much of changes is rising. We can go to easily identify it. Then after that, we can go to identify the also causes of such deviations. Okay, andre illi enagutte ondu compare ನಾವು deviations ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು changes ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಈ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಗೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು. Okay, what is the main causes of this deviations? These are all those things we can go into identify in the comparing actual performance with the standard performance. So this is the third step of this controlling process. Okay, The next one is, after identifying this deviation, just we can go into analyzing the deviation. Next process is analyzing the deviations. Okay. So next process of controlling is just you are going to analyzing the deviation. Okay, this is also one of the important to determine the acceptance range of deviations. Okay, it is also deviation. It is one of the key areas of business. We can go to easily identifying such any deviation. It is need to be attained. It is more urgently. Okay, as compared to deviations in certain insignificant areas. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ analyzing deviations ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅನಲೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, after this finding, just we can go to search it. What is the causes of this deviation? Where is arising? When it is arising? What is the reason? So why? Because of it, this deviations is arising. These are all those things we are going to analyzing this. Okay. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. Okay, at a time when we are going to analyzing, just we can follow any manager can follow certain methods. What is this method? Number one is critical point control. Critical point control. Okay, just analyzing the critical point control. On the base of this, we are going to analyzing the deviation. Okay, so critical point control means it is nothing but it is one of the easy to check in the such every activity in an organization. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, why means this control should focus on the result areas. Okay, so some key results areas we are going to identify here. Okay, so KRAS ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, key result areas. Just we can find out the key results here. What is the main areas? Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಕ್ ವರ್ಗು ನಾವು ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದ ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ದ ಮೇನ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ, ಸೊ ಮೇನ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿನ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫಾಲೋವಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೀ result areas while critical the success of any organizations. Okay, so this is the one step should be followed for the purpose of analyzing the deviations. Okay, so another one is management by exception. Okay, the next step should be followed, that is called as management by exception. Okay, so this is also one step should be followed by the manager. So it is often referred to as control by exception. Okay, so it is one of the important principle should be followed into the management, into the controlling system. It is based on belief that attempt to control everything results in controlling process. Okay, so management by exception. Okay, exceptions, we can give us certain exceptions at a time of you are going to performing any activities should be performed into the organization. The manager can identify into the controlling process. Okay, so this sometimes, what is this exceptions what are going to rising into the organization means at a time of you are going to performing any activities, some problems are arising. These deviations need to be analyzed certain causes. What are all the causes? What are all the problems arising? For example, unrealistic standards. Standards should not properly set. Okay, standards should not it is not appeared. Okay, sometimes some deviation process. Okay, so one of the defective process should not correct. Okay, sometimes inadequate resources should not available properly. In that time such problems are rising. Another one is like one of the structural drawbacks also rising. So these are all the various different causes to raise in the deviations. Okay, clear? What are all the causes means? Unrealistic standards, then defective process or inadequacy in the resources or any structural drawbacks. Okay, on the basis of these reasons, some deviations are rising. Okay, so that's why we are going to analyzing the deviation. What is the main causes happen? Okay, so these deviations is maybe actually we are going to compare. It is one of the raising. It is a negative deviation or a positive deviation or a zero deviation. Just we also find out these deviations. Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಏನೇನು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಗಳೇನು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಕಾರಣಗಳ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಗೆ ಅನುಸಾರ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆರ್ ಝೀರೋ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ 3 types of deviation.